Right, here we go again. Buckle up. Rough roads ahead. That kind of thing got lost for a little bit. Probably despised somewhere. Could be Russia for all I know. They all work together for the same death of whoever they want to kill. They're actually serial killers, but they pretend to be something official, actually working some serious project or something like that. Let me make sure it's the right browser. Well, based upon what just happened, it could even be what do they call that? Like a Wi-Fi blocker, but a cellular blocker of some sorts. Might just be in my immediate area. So I connected into something else. I'm gonna have to go back and see if I can connect back into the other one. It looks like I can, but we'll see. Let me try it. Yeah, it looks like the cellular's still out of reach. Cellular looks like it's still out of reach. It could just be that band, or they could be in the tower itself. And nobody looks at anything that they feel would take away from their own income. It's generally how law enforcement and investigations and spycraft work. They don't care who the boss is, they only care that they get paid. Altruism doesn't exist, but that's their biggest scam. They're the ones protecting everyone. They're the ones keeping us all safe. When they're the only reason that we have trouble like we do. So again, I can only output what I can output by what they're doing. They're blocking the health and the wealth of our nation on purpose. Now, as far as RFK, that sounds fine, but you're going to decrease food subsidy by the nature of what the Republicans do. And, I can't afford to go outside of Walmart. So I know the other people can't. So the food that you're saying that everybody should eat is already out there, but it's too expensive. And that, everybody knows that's generally, I mean, there's some education that goes along with that. And again, low sodium is very important. But when they put the low sodium stuff on the shelf, nobody eats it. So again, there's a whole paradigm to what they're, selling and why they produce it like they do. Turn that down a little bit. It went up a little loud. It's interesting. Like my internet went off, and then they brought my neighbor out and had him go in his car. Now, again, when I say they, it could be just be Satan, and he gets a blip. Oh, I'm gonna go get something at McDonald's. And so again, I watch it in the metaphysical, and I watch it in the physical. I gotta say, and then there's this vehicle over here. Yeah, I don't know if it is or isn't, but there's a white. Was that a Beamer 4-door? Sitting out on the road with a hazard sign. Although they could be, waiting for somebody like a child getting off a bus or something. Well, that's funny. Yeah, they brought all of them out. But again, I've come out at certain points, and I know it is a bus. Okay, but I know it's like direct energy. It has to be. It can't be metaphysical. When I was in, and I speak to people about it because I want them to know that we're all coming out of our doors here in this apartment building because it's either metaphysical or physical, or yeah, metaphysical or physical spycraft. Like something could be triggering us. I know it's a metaphysic to walk outside at the same time to make people paranoid. So that just kind of happened around here. But again, it could be, I'll pay you, a dime bag of heroin if you, when I paid you, you walk outside your door. That could be also true. That kind of thing. If that such a thing exists. I haven't been in law enforcement for a long time. I haven't actually did the that mission for a long time. I've been engaged in it. So again, they may be also trying to make it look like I changed my walk because my neighbors walked outside. I'm actually on the other side of the building because this is one of the women that, she gets freaked out if I talk about, loving your neighbor or hating your neighbor hates you. She thinks I'm speaking about her. So I'm over here on this side of the building. But what they did could have caused me to stay on that side of the building because I'm on Wi-Fi, which means she would have been hearing me. And then it would look like I was trying to speak to her. Again, that's how the deep state works in their fake investigations. Again, an investigation against Donald Trump could have deep state people in it, but Trump did do that. The deep state things that you should be concerned with is the fake investigations. But again, maybe you're not. Maybe you're part of that. Maybe you hire those people to take out your enemies. I'm going to try this again and see if I can get back on the cellular. Say an emergency calls only. Testing 1, 2, 3, testing. All right, looks like I'm back on. So it would look like I was trying to talk to my neighbors if they wanted to use it in that way. Like I'm acting like I'm online or something, or acting like I'm practicing my lines for online. I had to tell. I don't think about you until you stand here. Like it is. Yeah, it looks like my my internet's still down. But I'm on the other side of the building, so I don't have to worry about looking like I'm standing in front of my neighbor talking to her because I'm not walking any longer. Yeah, that's kind of scam the deep state's into. It's kind of scam the Soviet Union was into, and that's pretty much where we are. Russia did take over, but they're not in control of all of it. They changed the United States to be more like the Soviet Union. Again, Soviet Union wasn't social programs, corruption. Why Bob's gone? He could identify it. It looks weird because I do have. It's so strange. If I turn off my Wi-Fi, then my cell strength signal meter turns off too. So they may have hacked something. They're also trying to get me to buy like a new phone so that I would have a debt. I finally got my phone bill down. And like for them, it's like it's a compulsion for me to have have not bad credit, but not have, any money and to keep spending my money and have a lot of bills. And again, they get a bonus for it, but it's also a psychosis that they have. You get a bonus if they mess up my stuff. Now here's another one. Looks like I could have altered because now the buses are letting off and I've altered by where I'm walking and I'm over here by where the kids walk by, that kind of thing. So that's how deep state is. It's a bunch of pieces of shit. They haven't saved anybody or secured any bit of the nation. They just make an illusion over and over again. And they say they're winning and they're Christians because they get to go to church. They're actually directed to go into a religion so they can do the deep state stuff in their religion. And then, of course, indoctrinate those people. Here you get money for being a devil. But we'll call it something else. We'll call it Neighborhood Watch. Or we'll call it the blue buddies or the blue partners. No, you're not protecting anyone. It's a scam. but neither would Tucker Carlson. So again, I'm not out there like that. Like the deep state battle that's actually going on is just deep state on deep state. Obviously, Trump was trying to create a deep state, but he's not going to be able to. It's just the world is wired in such a way that the courts would stop him and will. I mean, there's going to be. That's why the Supreme Court is saying, "Look, Trump, just only go slow, only go so far," because they don't want a million cases. They can't. And again, they should quote unquote pack the court because 9 justices is the number of justices we had when, like 1820 or something, 1827, I think, or something like that. So again, obviously the nation is 10 times larger than it was back then. So we need additional justices. There should be 2 separate panels of justices at a minimum with a few alternates. And then we can start, you can't sit on a case when you've been appointed by the defendant. Now, what are the chances of that case coming up again? At Trump's age, probably never again. And again, I don't know what the precedents are going to be in the future. Well, it's just a financial benefit to have been appointed. So Trump's paying every one of those judges. It's unethical. Even if the people are honest, it's considered unethical to do that. And we were about to go down that route with Judge Cannon at that point. And I don't think he wanted to go down that route because the Supreme Court justices, again, he wasn't overly aggressive. He just was running through the case. Some people will probably believe that, if you talk to certain attorneys, they won't speak out unless they know you, but they'll tell you, Jack Smith threw the case or didn't necessarily throw it by wanting to throw it. It's just he wasn't aggressive enough. So not being an aggressive attorney, it's hard to, take that attorney before a court and say this guy's done something wrong. He was just, methodically going through the thing. And at the end, he pled his case. So this is why the case exists. No, if I look, like when my Wi-Fi's on, if I look at my cell signal, it gives me my cell signal. But if I turn the Wi-Fi off, then because there's 2 meters. There's one for the Wi-Fi, one for the cell signal. If I take, and my Wi-Fi does have a connection for the cell, but I believe that would register differently. So yeah, they did somehow destroy my connection. Right. So now I'm like kind of around my front of my house, and my neighbor is driving in and driving out, so he may be getting paranoid at me being like right in this location at this point. So again, that's how spies work. And that's how they, I believe that they entered into this community and they caused a disruption. But I don't know, I can't investigate the length of it. It does exist. Spies were here. Spies did cause innocent people to have a disruption, but I don't know who's innocent or who's guilty at any level because I can't investigate. I can only investigate it like personally. Sometimes I investigate it by being a jokester. But I'm going on the other side of the building. I don't want this guy to be paranoid. Because I stayed over on the other side of the building until I know the other neighbor went in. And then now he came back from wherever he went. He had this look on his face. So I'm moving to the building. They would say that it succeeded because I changed course of communication, but obviously I've spoken about things long and hard over the years. And Russia hitting my cell tower is not going to stop me. So again, just to the Trump people, if Trump says don't increase the attacks on Ukraine, and that's all he says, and they increase the attacks on Ukraine, and I don't know where he is on that and whether he cares about it, but the people will see him as probably phony at a certain point because that's what happened with Biden. The Arabs were like, he's not really trying to stop them. He's not really trying to stop Israel. That's one of the scams they're playing. Oh, stop. Don't do it. That's that's what was seen. Well, they all get in their little thing. "Oh, we're going to get rid of Iran." Yeah, but you're going to kill how many children getting there? Again, the psychology is out there. And if you like running the campaign, Wiles could probably sit down and look. I think she runs psychological programs, or she understands them. So she could probably sit down and look at Israel and the Palestine and say, "Yeah, you could have recruited those people to be IDF in 15 years. You could have made them card carrying Republicans. Oh, you did, but you don't have them killed just to do that, and they're really not. They'll put Trump out just as fast if they have to. Now, what they believe is they'll be able to take over Iran because Israel's been doing that for a long time. But I'm telling you right now, it was not necessary to kill that many children to do it. It's a scam. They want to kill Arabs. They got to kill Arabs because they engaged in a spycraft program to do it. 100%, no doubt. But you can get people to move this. I explained it some years ago. You link up with Fatah, you recruit Fatah in, you put it. If they put Fatah in, Fatah would have been part of IDF. Then IDF and Fatah rescue the people in the Gaza. But because you have adulterated minds and you were planning other things, there were issues with the way that you're constructing it. They want the children killed. Believe me. That's why there's people in Israel that can't speak. They're not free to speak. And again, maybe Trump thinks that's the way it should run because he likes Z and he likes the other tyrants, and that's where he is in life. So the problems that we see in what was happening and what is happening. I can't get my cell signal work. We have to get another cell connection, but I don't know. I think the cell connection is the same. Everything I looked at, anything that's cheap is the same. Father and mother companies. There's only so many companies. I think everything's generally Verizon nowadays. It's around here on. You can get like different name brands, but it's looking like everybody's piggybacking off of Verizon. So a lot of those, Palestinian kids. I mean, you have had some collateral damage, but that's not collateral damage. That's intentional. I mean, some people even would call it chicken shit war. I mean, and they're heralding it as the new era of efficient battle. And again, who is Hamas? Hamas is a bunch of schmucks. They're not a real army, not by any stretch of the imagination. So again, it was a big scam. The last 15 years, they could have worked the Palestinians into being Fatah and then taking the land back because they want the land, they want the waterfront property, and that's part of negotiation. You say, okay, you can't have all that waterfront property. You want some of that back. That's how it works. We're going to own, the southern part of the Gaza, and we'll work this. You'll have this area, you'll have that area, that kind of thing, and that's how it works. I mean, they probably know that, but they didn't want to kill Arabs. I'm telling you, they want to. Oh, but now we don't have to worry about these kids in the future because they were all just wannabe terrorists. Again, I told you years ago I was in the government, and we're driving through communities looking for fugitives, and every time they saw a black kid, we're going to arrest that kid in 5 years. I mean, of course you are now. Again, I didn't know back then, but they want to So it didn't really bother me all that much. But once I woke up, oh, of course they are, because now they just whammied and spelled that kid to be arrested in 5 years. Again, the same thing in the Gaza. They're devils, man. They want to tell you they're from God and they're special people. They took that chosen thing and they made it something so selfish and so nasty. I mean, it's obviously not how it was meant to be understood. So that is what it is. I guess I'm at 60 minutes now. You messed up my connection. I only had like maybe 5-10 minutes more of talking. I've already went like 25 at this point. So actually the opposite. You actually cut your nose off